Good morning. Today I'm going to show you how I make these little cutlery holders. I call them sleeping bags, and you just pop your cutlery into them. These are Christmas ones. They'd be lovely for the Christmas table, but we're doing cheap ones today because you can have them any time of year. For each one you make, you cut in one piece of wadding and 2 pieces of fabric. One piece is your inner fabric, and then your feature one, and you need to cut them 16.5 in length and 5 inches wide. That's 42 centimeters by 13. Then you layer the 2 fabrics right sides together, so line them up and layer them. Then you're going to put those on top of your piece of wadding. Try and do that there for you, and you can pin it down or tack it, and then we're going to machine around it. This one is in the sewing machine. You need to leave a gap for turning, so I've put 2 pins there to remind me where to start, and I'll come round and stop. So we're stitching all the way round. I've used a walking foot. It doesn't need to be a 1/4 inch seam. In fact, it's better if it's a little bit wider. I use about a 5/8. It's not crucial as long as you use the same seam for every one, and you're just going to stitch all the way round. If you've got needle down, it's great to use needle down because the needle will always stop in your work when you're moving. So I'm just going to stitch around the rest of this one now. So I'm just coming down now. I've gone all the way around. I'm just coming down to my second pin. I've taken the pins out as I was going along. As I come up to this, I can pull it out, and then I'm going to put a few stitches in the spot, or you could reverse if you want to, and take it out of your machine. There you go. So I've got this piece now, so I'm going to cut across the corners as you would in dressmaking, so there's less bulk, and it's just a little snip across all 4 corners before starting to turn through. So I'm turning it through to the other side now. So just go in between the 2 fabrics and start to push it through. Now you will need something to push the corners out. You can get little turning tools. I've got a nice little chopstick there. Got the end of a paintbrush. Needs to be rounded. You could use scissors, but a rounded point, not a pointy one, or it'll push all the way through. And we're just going to push, there we go, the corners out. So I'm just going to turn that all the way through now. So I'm going to give this a nice press. I finished turning it through, so I'm going to press it. So I've got my trusty travel iron here. So I'm going to press it on the one side all the way, and then I'll turn over and press the other side. Need to just ensure that none of one side is showing on the other. Just sort of roll it to make sure it's all nice and flat. And that gap, just press that down by the gap as well, because we'll be stitching over that soon. So there you have it, pressed and laid out. So you're simply going to turn it up. Now it's round about 6 inches. I think that's about 13 centimeters, is it? Anyway, what I did was I got my knife and fork, because some knives and forks are bigger than others, and just put them in to know where to go to, because you can go up a little bit or down a little bit. So mine ended up at 6 inches. So once you're happy with that, I gave it another little press while it was in its exactly where I wanted it. And then I went back to the sewing machine. There we go. Came back at the sewing machine. Now this is one I have finished, and we're going to stitch all the way around. Okay, I started sort of there-ish, and I stitched around, and I went across the bottom close to the edge, just that I didn't have to stop really, and up and around this outer edge, which gives it a nice outline, And of course, as you're going round, you're stitching in that gap. Now you need to stitch it a little less wide than the original seam. So if you did 5/8, you know, take it down a little bit. So I'll just move my needle over a little bit. So I'm back at the sewing machine. I'm going to make my stitch length a little bit longer because we're not piecing now. It was on 2.5. I'm going to take it up to 3.5, I think, because it's just a top stitching really. I've brought the bobbin thread up to the top, so that'll be out of the way. I'm going to do a few stitches in the spot to start, and we're on our way, and we're just going all the way around. Now, I had a look at the centimetres. I think it's about 16 for 6 inches, about that. When we're going right down, I mean, you could stop here, but rather than stop and start, I've just gone along the bottom edge, quite close to the edge, because you don't want to move your cutlery up too much. So this is quite close to the bottom edge. And then we're going to go up the other side. Now if you notice, my fabric is multi-directional, so it doesn't matter, but if it was directional, I'd just have to make sure my sheep were facing the right way. But they're all over the place, so it doesn't matter. So we're going up here now. The walking foot does make it a bit easier because you are going through a lot of layers. And then we're just going to stitch around this top. Stop at the corner, needle down, turn it, the next corner, turn it, and then we're going to go back down this first row we went down. Now this can be quite thick, so just feed it through gently, slow down for that bit, give your machine a chance to get over that bump. Don't come running at it. And then you want that to line up with that. I usually go a couple of stitches over, a few more stitches in the spot, and we're done. Take it out of your machine. So I like to give it another press when it's finished. And then you slip your knife, fork and spoon in, and you're done. So they're quick and easy to make. A fat quarter will cut 4 of the fronts or the backs, so you can make 4 out of a fat quarter, and there it is, done. Bye.